Good morning. Thanks for joining us. Hey, I want to share a couple verses from Galatians chapter 6. Actually, I'm just going to share one verse. And it says this: "Don't be misled. You cannot mock the justice of God. You will always harvest what you plant." It's a great verse. And it goes on to say, I will share one more verse. "So let's not get tired of doing what is good. At just the right time, we'll reap a harvest of blessing if we don't give up." How many stories have we heard about people like, I was ready to give up, but I tried one more time, and that's when the success story happened. I think that's so important. So a lot of stuff takes time, and if you're a normal American, you don't like waiting. Patience is not always our strong suit. It takes time for fruit. You can plant a tree, but you're not going to have fruit immediately. The tree's got to grow up. I heard somebody use an expression. They said, it's a Greek proverb, and it says, wise people are intent on planting trees that will grow up big and strong and have lots of leaves and fruit, and those leaves will give shade long after we're alive. That other people will enjoy the shade, but we won't. What are we about that we're waiting on, right? That we're not going to see the benefit of it, but somebody else is. And one other thing I always like to say about fruit is that a tree that does produce fruit gives it away. It does not enjoy the fruit itself. So, something to keep in mind. So, this past Monday, one of the things I'm trying to do this new year is cook at home a little bit more. And I enjoy cooking because I like eating. And so Heidi has made pot roast over the years. And I'll say that it's got potatoes and the beef and carrots and celery. And there's like this mushroom soup that goes in there. It's good. And you cook it in the crock pot. But I'd been thinking and studying online, I want to do more of an Italian one. So instead of the mushroom soup, I wanted to make one that had more tomatoes in there and a lot of the other same ingredients. But don't tell Heidi this. I didn't want as many carrots, and I wanted a lot more celery. Shh, don't tell Heidi. So on Monday, I thought, I've got the time. I had some other stuff going on that morning, but around midday, I started getting the whole thing together, and I had the beef, and I had the potatoes, and lots of garlic, and I used some beef broth, and lots of celery, just a couple carrots, the potatoes, and I had some different seasoning. Heidi got me this. She knows I love all kinds of seasoning, and it's in this jar. It is really good combination of stuff. I've got this stuff from Arizona. Plenty of that was going in there as well. And so I put the whole thing together, and I looked at some recipes online, and I kind of put it all together the way that I wanted to do it. And it said, cook on high for 5 or 6 hours. And so I did that. And at 5 or 6 hours, everything was cooked, and I wasn't crazy about the flavor of like the gravy. And the beef was cooked, but it wasn't like falling apart. You know how pot roast is supposed to be? And Heidi had some. She said, yeah, it's pretty good. I had to go play tennis. She said, you should leave it on a little longer. So I did. Put it on low. I went and I played tennis. Tempted to get a taco on the way home, but I'm like, no, I've got my pot roast, and I've got, probably about 6 pounds of pot roast, and I'm not crazy about it. When I got home, it was fantastic. The beef was just like falling apart. The gravy tasted completely different. I was absolutely blessed. So what's the moral of this story? Be patient. Trust the process. If you're planting things when spring finally rolls around, don't check every day, dig up the seed to see if it's growing. It probably won't if you do that. But trust the process. What we plant eventually will grow. And do you know what else I learned? Because when I was tasting it before it was completely done, I was like, it's not tasting the way I think that it should. But in the end, everything we put in the pot matters. Whatever goes in the pot matters. So put the good stuff in the pot. Give God time, and then I think you're going to have a good pot roast. God bless you. Have a great week.